The purpose of this unit is to go over some of the common characteristics of some important shapes that you'll need to know for our proofs that we're going to do in the next unit. So the first shape we're going to talk about is a parallelogram. So a parallelogram is a type of quadrilateral, and a quadrilateral is a polygon, so a shape with 4 sides. So when you have a shape with 4 sides, it will be a parallelogram only if it satisfies these properties. So the first one says opposite sides are parallel. So when I talk about opposite sides, right? If this side is side 1, its pair is the side that is directly across from it, side 2. If this is side 3, then that is side 4. So opposite sides have to be parallel, so if you extend these out forever, they would never touch. The second says that opposite sides are congruent. So very similarly, the sides that are parallel are also congruent. They are equal to each other. And going along with this, opposite angles are also congruent. So angles that are opposite of each other are equal to each other. We also know that consecutive angles are supplementary. So for example, if this is angle 1 and angle 2, then angle 1 plus angle 2 must be equal to 180 degrees. And then finally, as something a little bit different, the diagonals bisect each other. So a diagonal connects two opposite angles with a line. So AC and BD are our diagonals. So when they bisect each other, we have segment bisectors. So these segments are splitting each other in half where they cross. Right, so if we call this E, so then you know that AE is congruent to CE, and BE is congruent to DE. So now let's look at some practice problems. So all we're doing here is we're using the properties that we just went through to find some missing values. So for each of the following, the shape shown is a parallelogram, find the missing value. So before I even look at what they're asking, I can start filling in, because if I know this is a parallel opposite side, I also know they're congruent. So this is 15. Same thing here. Opposite side must be the same. Opposite angles are the same. So now the only thing I have to figure out is what my last set of missing angles would be. Well, I know that consecutive angles have to be add up to 180. So you're going to solve. And when you solve, you get 112 as your missing angles. So that's 112 and that's 112. So the main things to keep in mind, opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, and the consecutive angles have to add up to 180. So AD is 8, DC is 15, A is 112 degrees, B is 68 degrees, C is 112 degrees. Same type of a thing. I'm given one set, one side. Opposite side must be equal. Given the other side must be equal. So I know that JK is 21, KL is 29, J is going to be 127 degrees because it's opposite of L. So then I know that I just have to solve for my last angles by doing 180 minus 127 to get that X is equal to 53. So because opposite angles are equal, I have my pair of opposite angles. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing that you'll be asked to do for this lesson is to go through what happens if it's diagonal. So for example, if this is a parallelogram and I tell you that this right here is 12 and this is 10, you would need to be able to say, well, because it's a parallelogram and bisect the diagonals bisect each other, then this piece would be 10 and this piece would be 12. That's the only other bit that's not covered in these two examples. So that is our first topic for this unit.